Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Munson, James County Jr., Penn Court. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been in jail 6 times as an innocent man. 6 times a prosecutor in talk court. How am I in jail 1 time when a prosecutor doesn't exercise a First Amendment right? Employees of the District Attorney's Office, to include Perry Duckles, Elizabeth Buckley, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley. It hasn't happened to anybody once. It happens because of psychopath cops, corrupt judges, and corrupt assistant district attorneys. That's how it happens. And you live in a delusional, insane, psychotic 1984. If you don't understand what I just said, has been on here now for exactly 60 seconds. And that's 60 seconds. This is the Freedom of Information Law, dated this Monday, January 29, 2024, where I have prosecutors before Paul C. Metzler in Penn Court, for John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penn Court, and one of you freaks and psychopaths and sociopaths elevated me to Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. And who is it? It is insane for a district attorney anywhere in the United States of America to refuse to tell a defendant in a courtroom the name of a prosecutor. President Donald Trump knows the psychopath prosecutor for him is District Attorney Alvin Bragg. The Duke Lacrosse University players, who are all innocent, knew the psychopath prosecutor for them is Mike Nifong. Who's my psychopath prosecutor? You fucking psychopath District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Do you notice I'm using profanity? Because I have used fucking profanity my whole life, especially when I was in the military, 1st Airborne Division. Monroe County Sheriff's Office came to my house in the person of Richard Seaman after I used profanity where I used to live in Penfield to tell a woman named Nancy Dooley to fuck off, who was staring at me repeatedly when I was walking my dog. The cops in Monroe County come into the home of a citizen to tell them how to talk about that repeatedly. So on this day, who is it? This is the Freedom of Information Law, and this is how I acquired your payrolls at the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office. January 29, 2024, I'm in the exercise of my First Amendment right, demanding information from you that you're legally obligated to provide to me, and you will refuse because you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law, documentation of the case of Christopher Rochester for John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penn Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? District Attorney Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath who sent me to Monroe County Jail, total silence, is right here. And this is Julie Hahn. This is not Julie Hahn. Julie Hahn is on Monroe County Court, where she is defeated by 14 points, not first, not second, third. State Legislature Speaker Carl Heastie, Senate Majority Leader Andrew Stewart Cousins to revisit these laws that allow judges to be on courts when they're defeated, or when they're not even remotely close to 50%, like the exalted one, Alex Renzi, get 25%. Does that concern you, officers of the court? Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley, Public Defender Julie Sianka, Assistant Public Defender Mark Phillips, that judges on courts that are not victors and not even remotely close to 50% of the vote, where a majority think that they should be on the court. Does that concern you? The answer is no, because you're freaks and sociopaths. That's why. All those names I just mentioned, a freak, a sociopath, every time. Because they all know the names of my prosecutors. This is Julie Hahn, this is not Julie Hahn, for John P. Lomenzo Jr. Now, this $28,000 bald-headed widow, John P. Lomenzo Jr. is paid $34,000. Paul C. Metzler, $28,000 bald-headed widow Paul C. Metzler once had total control over my life when I languished in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo when a prosecutor talked to court. And who's the prosecutor signed to Paul C. Metzler? Documentation for the case of Christopher Rochester for Paul C. Metzler, Penn Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath's right here. And who is it? So, I was elevated to Alex Renzi because of fiction and fantasy land at the head of $73,000 Michael Houlihan and $85,000 Don Benedetto. $73,000 Michael Houlihan, $85,000 Don Benedetto hit on the private property of my neighbor at midnight 2 years ago. They come running at me in the middle of the night. I run alongside my residence. They're chasing me. I grab a hammer next to my bike. I place my foot on the first 3 steps to run through the sliding glass door. Michael Julian grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I run through the sliding glass door and I never stop running. Michael Julian now knows in the Jonestown that occupies his head that he has to come up with a lie. So he goes back to the sheriff's office and district attorney's office and says I swung a hammer at him, which is a lie. It's one thing to be a liar, and then he's just a liar. When he sits in that witness box in the grand jury for you, Michelle Crowley, and he says I swung a hammer at him, he becomes a perjurer. He is a perjurer, for which he should be arrested, prosecuted, and fired. So I'm in my residence. They're outside. I go up to the second floor. I look at all these freaks and psychopaths. I think there's about 10 of them outside. Now they're going to stalk me again, just like Richard Chase even stalked me at the Public Library. I'm stalked over to Wegmans. A Monroe County Sheriff Office employee gets out of the vehicle, runs at me, knocks me down. My head slammed down to the concrete pavement next to the pharmacy entrance to Wegmans at 2157 Penfield Road from the psychopath Monroe County Sheriff Office employee, where there were 5 vehicles, 10 witnesses are all Monroe County Sheriff Office employees, and this is why Sheriff Todd Baxter was in the embrace of violence. And the person who saw this happen to me and I can identify as this female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos. And you know what she's going to say about me being violently attacked by a Monroe County Sheriff Office employee? Nothing, because she's the blue wall silence. This gets me into Alex Renzi, and who is it? This begins the process where I'm going to be before Alex Renzi. They didn't take me to Alex Renzi after this violent attack upon me, but I'm eventually going to be in front of him. And when I'm in front of him, I have a prosecutor. Who is it? For your information, the documentation for the case for Christopher Charges for Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor? Sandra Doorley. The freaking sociopath that has my concocted attempted felony assault, which has me in Livingston County Jail in Geneseo, is right here. And who is it? The exalted one told me in New York State Supreme Court I was finished and done. That's the first thing. You're finished and done. That's exact words. That's not true. I'll get a document in the mail by one of you freaks and sociopaths in the district attorney's office forcing me into court where you don't have to utter one single word. Finished and done. That's not true. I will be in jail again. The other thing the exalted one told me, there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. I don't believe everything he says. He's every bit as corrupt as Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter. But it makes sense. His exact words to me, quote, there's no such thing as attempted felony assault. Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buck, Michelle Crowley, Julie Sianka, Mark Phelps. Is that true or not? So who is it that has me before him? You know who can tell me? These employees right here. Perry Duckles at 144-721, 135-359. Mark Monahan at 141-579. Nancy Gilligan at 114-16. Monica O'Brien 117-086. Meredith Smith 110-742. Raymond Benitez 131-416. Melissa Trulove 107-507. Robin Catalano 135-359. Elizabeth Buckley 131-4116. Michael Harrington 135-359. Michael Beazer 113-361. Gregory Clark 114-985. Jennifer Hyatt 124-216. Amanda Bowling 124-216. Eleanor Biggs 118-435. Scott Miles 122-65. Charles Dominic 107-517. Patrick Gallagher 124-216. Rachel Clark 124-216. Bianca D'Angelo 114-985. Jennifer Kennedy 111-636. All those employees there can tell me who it is. Because you just bring the documentation that's attached in PDF to Sandra Doorley. So Sandra Doorley was elected. That's the way it is, and her salary is $210,900. Perry Duckles is paid $11,000 more than Sheriff Todd Baxter, $144,000. Matthew Schwartz is paid $3,000 more than Todd Baxter at $135,000. Mark Monahan is paid $9,000 more than Sheriff Todd Baxter at $141,000. Michelle Crowder's exact salary is Todd Baxter. Sarah Bastronics' exact salary is Todd Baxter. Raymond Benitez's exact salary is Todd Baxter. Robin Cannon's paid $3,000 more than Todd Baxter. Elizabeth Buckley's exact salary is Todd Baxter. Michael Harrigan is $3,000 more than Todd Baxter. Something wrong with a $100,000 employee. There's something wrong with this many $100,000 employees. That's only the first page. Who is it? You all know. All those names I just mentioned, who is it? All those names I just mentioned. You can walk to this park lot in Penfield, New York without being arrested. I'm going to tell you about a psychopath cop, but it's not going to matter to you. I'm going to tell you about multiple psychopaths. Nayraj Shah is 50-year-old man who lives with his 70-year-old mother. He got the criminal complaint about him falsely filing this instrument about me walking through his parking lot. It's not a crime to walk through his parking lot. When he goes to the sheriff's office with his ridiculous documentation and demands I be arrested, when people walk through his parking lot beginning at 7 a.m. until midnight, that is a crime. That is the very essence of false reporting incident. This is how Shannon Myers sets me up. I had this confrontation with him when coming back from Gold's Gym. He's screaming at such a pitch. I've never heard a man scream like this. I say, what's the problem? I have this confrontation with him. I walk away. I give him the official finger of Brooklyn Oak, just like I'm giving to every single one of you right now. And then Shannon Meyer calls me. I say, why are you calling? My exact words there, why are you calling me? People walk through this parking lot all day long because I can see them. I said to her, I've walked through this parking lot since I moved to Penfield in 2012 with my then girlfriend, Laura Riley. Does not matter to her. This is what she does. She tells a man named Steve Desmond and Brock Coltree in Lawn Care to ride his tractor by my residence here because I had confrontation with them about coming to my residence at 7 o'clock in the morning on these gigantic tractors. And what you're doing is criminalizing quality of life situation for me. Meyer tells Steve Desmond to ride his tractor by his residence. This is why the cops are psychopaths in the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. On this day, with this old man with this gray beard, here comes the old man with his gray beard on this tractor land that has no ownership because Timothy Murphy, the Monmouth County Office of Real Property Tax Service, can't confirm it, and Layla Kumar and Nairosh don't have the documentation. The old man's on his tractor with his beard. Steve Desmond and Brock Coltree in Lawn Care is right here. He's got his phone in his hand. They're hoping I come out of the residence. Real crime in Monmouth County, murder, rape, arson, robbery, and this is what this freak cop Shannon Myers doing, that Todd Baxter gave a $16,000 raise. I come out here. I stand right here. I say, nobody owns that land. Walk back to my residence. Do you think that's a crime? Perry Douglas, Mark Bynan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley? I'll tell you the answer. That's not a crime. Desmond looks at me. The old man gets off his tractor, walks away because he's not cutting grass that day. This is why people hate the police. Desmond gets on his phone. Meyer runs into my backyard 15 minutes later, crash lands on her face. There are 6 of them there for me. 6 of them there for me telling a man on his tractor, nobody owns a land spy from Monmouth County Sheriff's Office. The handcuffs go on. They take me downtown, lock me in a holding cell. Then when I'm in the holding cell, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office employee, this Barney Fife stooge idiot, comes to me. He's got his phone in his hand. This is how I know my right arm is moving like my right arm is moving right now. And I'm on this camera right here. This is 2025 Penfield Road for Business Called Consumer Insights. Welly Ross, the president. And I'm on this camera called the surveillance device. And then you freaks, fanatics, sociopaths, degenerates at the sheriff's office are calling Lindsay Brown and Monmouth County Office of Mental Health to come to my residence because I use the phrase surveillance device. And you know that there are truly mentally ill people in the United States of America who think they're under surveillance by the government. They're not. I'm on this thing. Regina Harper, the public defender, sent me the images. I saw myself. I watched myself. Sheriff Todd Baxter, did you expend taxpayer dollars for this camera? Or did you buy it and fix it for me? Or is this private technology on this building at 2025 Penfield Road? Ellie Roth, you can send your mail back to me where you work right here at this building. Because you're a private citizen. That's the way it is. This bald-headed Beano Mussolini stooge and clone is sending his mail back to me when I'm telling him, I told him right here on this January 16th. This photograph's why I'm fanatic. This photograph's why I'm extremist. This photograph's why I lie. This photograph's why I know the name is $67,000 disgusting Sandra. This photograph is why people hate the police. I never had any police hatred for the police in the United States of America my long life of 58 years. When I moved to Monmouth County in 2012 to live in Webster, I'll hate the cops for the rest of my life. When I see the police on TV, especially police in New York City, I despise them with an intensity that has damaged my health. I don't even know these people because I automatically assume that they're violating civil and constitutional rights of citizens. And I have been around the police in New York City because my mother and father are from Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, and Bushwick-Stuyvesant. And we would go into the city all the time in Brooklyn and Queens to see my grandparents in South Ozone Park. I've been around the New York City police for the first 30 years of my life constantly because my uncle was in the New York City police office for 27 years, Thomas Valentine Hennessy. I never had any hatred for the police. I hate the police. I see them all the time. Whenever I see police, any human being that is a type of police officer, FBI, CIA, DEA, local police, sheriff's office, I despise all of them. So that's just the way it is. The criminal complaints that you blow off, you should corrupt, about Nairon's child. I'm going to be in jail, and I was in jail for telling a man on his track that nobody owns the land next to my residence. When he goes to the sheriff's office and demand I be arrested, This is the criminal complaint for this 50-year-old freak who lives with his 70-year-old mother that you haven't arrested, and why not? This is perfectly acceptable for you for him to go to the sheriff's office and report something that's not a crime. And then you're going to embrace something that's not a crime at the sheriff's office and the district attorney's office, for which I'm going to be in jail before a corrupt judge. So, second one here, I'm going to read first. Nayraj Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, 2033 Pemberton Road, Pemberton, New York, 14526, false reporting incident of Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Sandra Front Drive, is walked through a park on entering his residence. This is the essence of false reporting an incident. Why hasn't he been arrested? Why hasn't his mother been arrested? Why? You don't know what a crime is. Second, Freedom of Information Law, Richard J. Seaman violently attacking me. Richard J. Seaman, a Martin Sheriff's Office, walked to the Pemberton Public Library in Pemberton, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards into his head on the ceramic tile floor. He hasn't been fired. He won't be arrested. He's going to attack other innocent citizens. Richard J. Seaman is $75,904 salary. I guarantee it. Violent cops like him don't change. So, Antonio Spano, when I'm in Livingston County Jail in Genesee, New York, when a prosecutor talked to court, and Paul C. Metz was holding me in his jail, I do not know that the locks are being changed, and all my things, all my personal possessions, every single thing I own is being moved out of the residence by my ex-girlfriend. So it's two crimes here. It's Antonio Spano locking the doors. That requires a court order. He has no court order. It's my ex-girlfriend taking everything to a storage locker. That requires a court order. She has no court order. What do freaks and sociopaths fail to understand about crimes being committed upon me? Freedom of Information Law. Criminal complaint. Antonio Spano failed to unlock the front and back doors of the residence 26 cents from driving Pemberton, New York, without a court order. 4. Laura Riley Webster, New York, transported personal belongings of Christopher Chichester, 26 cents from drive to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. So 4 crimes right there. This is the 5th crime for this lying, freak, cop, perjurer, Michael Luhan, who's involved in the death of a human being, who's responsible for the death of a human being, and Todd Baxter doesn't put him on restricted duty. Todd Baxter doesn't take his weapon away from him, and he walks onto private property with $85,000 Don Benedetto, and this is what this lying, freak, cop, perjurer is going to do. Criminal complaint for perjury, 73312 Michael Hulan, the Mount County Sheriff's Office. Quote, at 73212 Michael C. Hulan, the Mount County Sheriff's Office, walked onto private property across from the residence 26 Sandra Farm Drive in Pemberton, New York, with Christopher Chichester. That Hulan ran at Chichester approximately 1 a.m. with $85,000 Don Benedetto of the Sheriff's Office. That Chichester ran away from Hulan and Benedetto, wanted to aware of the identities. That Chichester grabbed the hammer alongside his residence next to his bike, used to fix the bike's tire. That as Chichester placed his foot on the first of 3 steps on the back porch, Hulan grabbed his arm. The hammer in Chichester's hands forced upwards. Chichester ran across his back porch through his sliding glass door, and as Chichester never stopped running, it is impossible to swing the hammer at 73312 Michael Hulan. What's not to understand, Michelle Crowley? I would have said all this to the grand jury and more. You could have sat right in front of me. You could have stood right in front of me as I sat in the witness box. You could have asked me question after question after question this night. There's nothing from me because you want me to be your ham sandwich. You can indict a ham sandwich is so famous that Tom Wolfe used it in his book, The Bonfire of the Vanities. Why don't you call me to the grand jury, Michelle Crowley? Because I've been demanding this information from you for 18 months, and here's the foil on January 7th. Sandra Doorley's looked right at this and refused because she's corrupt, because she's a freak, because she's a psychopath, because she's a fanatic. This is the Freedom of Information Law. I'm going to attach this to PDF. This doesn't have today's date. Information about the grand jury can meet my district attorney, Sandra Doorley, Todd, Christopher Chichester. That is 1. Day, month, and year the grand jury is convened. 2. The assigned district attorney's office employee addressed the grand jury. 3. The witness that testified to the grand jury. 4. The vote of the grand jury. 5. Transcript of the grand jury proceeding. Michelle Crowley, director of the grand jury. Is there a transcript? If there are 24 grand jurors, am I indicted as your ham sandwich and an innocent man by 13 to 11? I don't know. You know. And I hope you don't answer, Michelle Crowley, because I already have a strong case that you could be disbarred. You certainly should be fired. And you're not going to be fired. You could get you 20 years. I think you've been there since 2012. You're not going to be fired for impaneling this grand jury I don't know was convened when Michael Hulan purges himself because it's impossible to swing a hammer at this freak cop when I'm running away. Sandra Doorley loves sociopaths like you, Michelle Crowley, because Sandra Doorley's a sociopath. So, just like this sociopath right here. Read Perry Douglas and Monterey District Attorney's Office. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm demanding over and over that he disclose the names of my prosecutor's silence. And what I said here on this January 2023, this is the relevant graph, was correct. I'll be in court again. Because your fellow psychopaths know it takes only one corrupt judge to exile Renzi, New York State Supreme Court policy, and that's when Town Court claiming guilty of criminal charges. God, that's exactly what happened. I'm getting ready to move back to Albany when I wrote this. 3 months later, I'm in jail again. I'm not doing anything criminal. I'm not going to go into detail about how I was in jail again. But it is frightening how easy it can be in jail because all it takes is one corrupt judge, one psychopath assistant district attorney, and there you are in jail. So, over and over, I'm demanding information from you freaks and fanatics and sociopaths, and every single time you're refusing. Like this freak fanatic and sociopath Todd Baxter refusing to open his mouth over and over and over. He's refused to open his mouth right here. $132,000 to open his mouth. Now, this IMA group here, I'm not going to go into detail about this. This is how easy it is to not be in jail, but to be somewhere else. When a judge just wants to examine your head. The last time I appealed before the Exalted One, he's trying to force me into a 7:30 mental health evaluation so he could deliver me to a psychiatric center. Because he knows it's too much of a risk for him to send me to jail. So I went down to this IMA group, and when I appealed before the Exalted One, there's no way that this is constitutional where a judge decides that you need a 7:30 mental health examination or your mental health needs to examine, and then he's forcing you to go to some bureaucracy somewhere, and then when you don't, or for any reason where you were not examined by a doctor, then he can send you back to jail. So I went in there and he says to me, did you go down to the socio-legal center in Rochester, New York? And I said, yes, I did. And he's all confused and befuddled, Alex Renzi. So here he is, this 70-year-old fossil, is using mental health bureaucrats upon me to give me a 7:30 because he knows it's too much of a risk for him to send me to Monroe County Jail, and he's hoping to have me declared incompetent in the 7:30 so he can send me to Rochester Psychiatric Center, or Central New York Psychiatric Center, or some other Lord of the Flies facility. How is that constitutional for a judge just to decide he wants to get into the side of your head and examine your brain and see how you think and function with a 7:30? Because I'm absolutely confident that's not constitutional. So this is his IMA group. It's one of these freak organizations that's responsible for examining the contents of your head. So, the freak sheriff of Monroe County. Nonsense. This is how easy it is to be in jail. When I told Steve Desmond and Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence, will walk back to my residence. This is part of the paperwork I was given when I was released from Monroe County Jail, where it says nonsense. The state legislature needs to revise these laws about cops being able to show up, arrest you, and take you to jail. Because that means a freak like Shannon Meyer and her $83,000 salary can just decide you committed a crime, and then the handcuffs go on and you go to jail. I am in jail, in Monroe County Jail, for this freak Shannon Meyer telling Steve Desmond to ride his tractor by his residence here. That's not a crime. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I being perfectly clear about what I'm talking about? To walk outside, stand right here, say nobody owns the land, walk back to my rents, that's not a crime. So I'm in Monroe County Jail for this. This is documentation I received when I got out. Nonsense. I'm nonsense because this one freak cop set me up with Steve Desmond, a Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, and that's why I have this as nonsense. And when I'm in jail, I kept saying, how long am I going to be here? And I'm not being told how long I'm going to be in Monroe County Jail. And then I'm taking to John P. Lomenzo Jr. I think I was in Monroe County Jail for 2 weeks. And he just remanded me back to Monroe County Jail. When he doesn't know anything. John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Pendleton County Court does not know I'm in Monroe County Jail for criminal contempt second. That's telling a man on his tractor, Steve Desmond, from Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care, nobody owns the land next to my residence, walk back around rents. When in fact, nobody owns the land next to my residence. Michael Rather, Scott Alberti, Kathleen Miller, William Tadeo, and your $101,000 salary. William Tadeo, what would you think if anybody in your life, I don't know anything about you, if you have a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, anybody, what would you think if the most important, significant human beings in your life, William Tadeo, that you love and embrace, come outside and just say, nobody knows how to walk back around, that person's going to be in jail. Do you think that person's in jail because a psychopath cop and a psychopath judge? $101,000 William Tadeo, tell the answer. It's yes. So I have spent $10,000 on printing, demanding information from you. This is Patrick's Printing on East Main Street where I go over there. $10,000 I spent. Not only demanding names of my prosecutors, I was demanding other information, like if you settled a lawsuit under Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act for what's commonly called sexual harassment. You're refusing every single time to provide that information for me. What I don't have in my possession that I had for 30 years, I love that song Alive by Pearl Jam. I had a bracelet that said on it, like this one does, I'm still alive. That's what it says right there. I don't have it anymore. I don't have my rings. I wear a ring on his pinky finger to think about my uncle Thomas Valentine Henderson, Staten Island, New York. Taught me how to handicap, taught me how to bet at Aqueduct and Belmont. I have my pinky rings to think about my uncle. They're all gone. 10 of them were gone. This bracelet I originally had for 30 years saying I'm still alive because I love that Pearl Jam song, they're gone. All my running jerseys are gone. I just happened to have this in boxes from a race I ran along the Erie Canal. I say I have no clothes. This shirt here is a $4 shirt from the Goodwill. This is Goodwill here. I don't have any clothes. I have to go to the Goodwill because of you, Sheriff Todd, Baxter, you District Attorney, Sandra Doorley. I don't have any clothes. I have to go to the Goodwill because of you, Judge Alex Renzi, you nauseating, sickening hack, Paul C. Metz from Pemberton Court, you nauseating, sickening hack, John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Pemberton Court. I don't have any clothes because of Shannon Meyer, Don Benedetto, Andrew Reale, Michael Houlihan, and Richard Sieben attacking me at the Pemberton Public Library. I don't have any clothes. I have to go to the clothes at the Goodwill because of my prosecutor's silence. Does that concern you? $112,000 Mark Monahan of the District Attorney's Office. I'm holding this up. This is a $4 shirt at Goodwill. So I'm looking at it, the back of it. I know exactly what the shirt looks like, not the one I'm wearing. All my clothes are gone because of Antonino Spano, Fairport, New York, and Laura Riley, Webster, New York, and I have not been arrested. Why? Because you don't know what a crime is. That's why. Because you're freaks, fanatics, and sociopaths. That's why. I'm going to say this again for you. Corruption requires repetition. I have prosecutor's silence. Who is it? Dr. takes you the case of Christopher Chichester before John P. Lorenzo Jr. in Pemberton Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Dr. takes for the case of Christopher Chichester before Paul C. Metz in Pemberton Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Dr. takes for the case of Christopher Chichester before Alex Renzi in the United States Supreme Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? The prosecutor of silence is on the payroll. And the payroll is right here. And who is it? I demanded length of service at the District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, who is Michelle Bowen Richardson, who has been at the District Attorney's Office since January 28, 1991. 33-year employee of the District Attorney's Office. Is she not an assistant district attorney? Is this just a bureaucratic clerical worker that you like to have around? A 33-year employee of the District Attorney's Office. So, Sherry Crandell, 1995. Sandra Doorley's been at the District Attorney's Office since January 4th, 1992, but she was not elected. She was just hired. So you have employee after employee after employee that's been at the District Attorney's Office for 20 years, like Raymond Benitez, 2000. Like Martha Colburn, 2000. Like Denise Cosby, 2000. Like Nancy Gilligan, 2000. What are these employees that have been at the District Attorney's Office for 20 years doing? How do you get everybody into that little shack? There are 100 names on here. Do you have satellite offices? Do employees work from home? So James Lanphier has been at the District Attorney's Office since 1994. Carrie Noble's been at the District Attorney's Office since 1998. Paula Pupatelli's been at the District Attorney's Office since 1985. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, for the last 39 years, what does Paula Pupatelli do at the District Attorney's Office? And is this just a patronage hire? Is this a nepotism hire? 39-year employee at the District Attorney's Office. Does this 39-year employee at the District Attorney's Office, Paula Pupatelli, appear in court or not? District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Elizabeth Buckley, Michelle Crowley. What's the answer about Paula Pupatelli of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, and what is her responsibilities at the District Attorney's Office? Is this a patronage hire or not? I'm going to tell you what you're thinking as I'm on here, because I have a degree of anger that you should be able to decipher. You're thinking he should be in jail. It's exactly what you're thinking. All those names I've been mentioning here, from the district attorney's office to sheriff's office, the exact thought is he should be in jail because it only takes one corrupt judge, and you don't have to talk for me to be in jail. So, what I don't have because his old man Antonino Spano, I don't have my DD-214. It is frightening how you live your life does not matter to these corrupt judges like Paul C. Metzer, John P. Metzer Jr., and Alex Renzi. This is attached in PDF. This is my DD-214 I had in my possession since April 14th, 1988, when I ETS'd with 60-plus days leave from 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division. This is right in the middle of the 1988 presidential campaign, with George H.W. Bush and Michael Dukakis were already the nominees. They were already going to be nominated. I don't have this documentation anymore because of Antonino Spano. There's other documentation I don't have either. My mother wrote me a note when I was in elementary school when I was 7 years old in 1972 that I would occasionally read, like when I lived in Albany, when I lived in Washington, D.C. I don't have it anymore. There are other things I don't have. Notes from my mother. My mother would occasionally write me a note wherever I was, like when I was in the Army, when I worked at Albany, when I worked at Washington, D.C. They're all gone. And this doesn't matter to you freaks. And they're all gone because of you freaks. And you're not going to arrest, and you have not arrested this 80-year-old psychopath, Antonino Spano, who speaks in broken English, and it's broken English is going to protect him. Where he's going to say, I don't know, this is a crime, and I don't know who's going to protect him. It's a crime of the state of New York to lock the doors on a tenant without a court order. Antonino Spano committed that crime. It's a crime of the state of New York to move every single personal possession out of a residence to a storage locker, and Laura Riley, Webster, New York, committed this crime. She's going to blow off the law, ignore the law, because you're freaks and psychopaths. That's why. So, tell me what the answers are. We will continue to refuse, just like refused is written on here by this bald-headed Benito Mussolini stooge and clone Todd Baxter, afraid to open his mail. Why send it to him, registered mail, return receipt? You're going to refuse every single time to disclose the names of my prosecutors of silence that have delivered me to jail 6 times an innocent man. My name is Christopher Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. Liberty is the soul's right to breathe, and I've been an innocent man my whole life.